All enjoy the sounds of pipe and song. Atop both chariots and horses, there is no end of flower and jade-like faces, or of gallant knights, or of lovely scenes. After Tripitaka and the monks had watched the lanterns in the monastery, they also took to the streets of the suburb by the east gate to see the sights. Not until the time of the second watch did they turn back to retire. The next day the Tang monk said to the priests, "This disciple once made a vow to sweep a pagoda whenever I came upon a pagoda. Since this day is the fine festival of the first full moon, let me request the abbot to open the pagoda for me to fulfill my vow." The priests accordingly opened the door, as Sha monk took out the cassock to attend to the Tang monk. When they reached the first level, the elder put on the cassock to worship Buddha and say prayers. Thereafter, he swept out that level with a broom before taking off the cassock to hand back to Sha monk. He then swept clean the second level and went through each one in that manner until he reached the very top. On each level of that pagoda, you see, there were images of Buddha and open windows. When one level was swept clean, the Tang monk and his companions would remain a while to enjoy and commend the scenery. By the time the work was done, and they descended from the pagoda, it was already late, and lamps had to be lit. This was the night of the 15th, the first full moon. "Venerable Master," said the priests, "we have been watching the lanterns with you these last 2 nights in our monastery and in the suburb. Tonight is the festival proper. How about going into the city with us to watch the lanterns there?" In delight the Tang monk agreed. With the monks of the monastery, he and his 3 disciples all entered the city. Truly it is 15th, a lovely night and feast. Spring hues blend with the first full moon. Floral lights o'erhang busy shops. As people sing the songs of peace, you see only bright lights in the 6 streets and 3 marts. When a mirror rises in midair, the moon seems like a silver dish the river god pushed up. The lights look like brocade carpets woven by divine maidens. The lights in moonlight add 1 measure of light. The moon shines on the lights, enhancing their brilliance. There are countless iron chains and star bridges to see, and endless lamp wicks and flaming torches to watch. The snowflake lantern and the plum flower lantern seem to be chiseled from spring ice. The silk screen lantern and the painted screen lantern are constructed with 5 colors. The walnut lantern and the lily lantern hang high on the tower. The green lion lantern and the white elephant lantern frolic high by the awnings. The little lamb lantern and the rabbit lantern sparkle beneath the eaves. The hawk lantern and the phoenix lantern are joined side by side. The tiger lantern and the horse lantern walk and run together. The divine crane lantern and the white deer lantern, these longevity star rides on. The goldfish lantern and the long whale lantern, these Li Bo will sit on. The scorpionid hump lantern, a congregation of immortals. A revolving horse lantern, where generals do battle. 1,000 households of glittering towers. Many miles of a world of cloud and smoke. Over there, clippity-clop come the jade saddles flying. Over here, the rumbling wheels of scented chariots pass by. Look at those in red-trimmed towers, leaning on the rails. Behind the screens, shoulder to shoulder, pairs and pairs of beauties eager for pleasure. Or those by the bridge o'er green waters, noisily cavorting, all bundled in silk, besotted and soused in loud guffaws. 2 by 2 the tourists play in gay garments. Flutes and drums resound in the whole city. Pipes and songs rend the air throughout the night. We have also a testimonial poem which says, "From fields of brocade comes the lotus song. To this peaceful region flocks a great throng, with bright lights and moon on this 15th eve. Timely rain and wind the year will receive. Since this was precisely the time the nocturnal curfew was to be lifted, countless people mingled and milled about the place. Some were dancing. Some were walking on stilts. There were people disguised as ghosts and others riding on elephants, a bunch here and a cluster there. You could hardly watch them all. When the Tang monk and the other priests finally made their way to the Golden Lamp Bridge, they came upon 3 lamps with bases the size of cisterns. The coverings on top were actually 2 artificial towered edifices knit in the most elegant and delicate fashion with fine gold threads. Suspended inside the edifices were thin pieces of glass. The light of these lamps could rival the moon's, while their oil emitted powerful aromas. The Tang monk turned to ask the priests, "What sort of oil do these lamps use? Why does it have such a powerful, strange fragrance?" "I should tell you, venerable master," replied one of the priests. "About the district behind our prefecture, which is called Compassionate Heaven. This district covers some 240 square miles. Supporting the annual land taxes of this district are 240 so-called oil families. Mind you, the other taxes of the district are manageable, but the ones levied on these families are quite burdensome. Each household, in fact, must spend over 200 taels of silver on the oil for these lamps, which is no ordinary oil. It is a specially blended fragrant oil, and each tael is worth 2 taels of silver. Each caddy of oil thus would cost 36 taels of silver. The cistern of each of those 3 lamps holds up to 500 kattas, so 3 lamps would require 1,500 kattas of oil. The fuel itself, therefore, would cost 48,000 taels of silver. Other miscellaneous expenses would push the total sum to over 50,000. The lamps, however, can only last 3 nights. "How could you burn up so much oil in just 3 nights?" asked Pilgrim. The priest answered, "There are 49 large wicks in each of the cisterns. They are made of wick straw tied together and wrapped in fine cotton. Each wick is actually about as thick as a chicken egg, but they can last only through this night. After Father Buddha has revealed himself, the oil will have disappeared by tomorrow evening, and the lamps will go dim." "It must be," giggled 8 Rules from the side. "That Father Buddha takes away even the oil." "Exactly," replied the priest. "This has been the belief handed down from antiquity by the people of the entire city. Because the oil dries up, people all say that the Buddhist patriarch himself has put away the lamps, and that ensures a rich harvest of the 5 grains. If, however, there is a year when the oil does not dry up, then there will be droughts or poor harvests or wind and rain out of season. That is the reason why all the families feel compelled to make these sacrifices." As they spoke, the howl of wind could suddenly be heard up in the sky, so terrifying the lamp spectators that they all scattered. The priests, too, found it difficult to stand on their feet. "Venerable Master," they said, "let's go back. The wind has arrived. It must be Father Buddha's auspicious descent, coming here to watch the lamps." "How do you know it's Buddha coming to watch the lamps?" asked the Tang monk. "It's like this every year," replied one of the monks. Hardly past the hour of the 3rd watch the wind arrives. Knowing that it is the auspicious descent of the various Buddhas, people all get out of the way. "This disciple," said the Tang monk, "happens to be a person who thinks of Buddha, who chants the name of Buddha, and who worships Buddha. If there are indeed Buddhas making their descent on this fine occasion, I will certainly pay them homage. Even a small gesture is desirable." The priests begged in vain for him to leave. In a little while, 3 figures of Buddha indeed appeared in the wind, coming toward the lamps. The Tang monk was so astonished that he rushed up to the top of the bridge and fell on his knees to bow to them. Hurrying forward to try to pull him up, Pilgrim shouted, "Master, these are not good people. They have to be monstrous deviates." Hardly had he finished speaking than the lamp light suddenly grew dim. With a loud whoosh, they scooped up the Tang monk and left astride the wind. Alas! We do not know. Of which mountain or cave are these real fiends? false Buddhas who for years have watched the gold lamps. So terrified were 8 rules and Sha monk that they searched and hollered left and right. "Brothers," Pilgrim cried, "no need to call for Master at this place. His extreme pleasure has turned to grief, and Master has been abducted by monster spirits." "Holy Father," said those few frightened monks, "how could you tell that monster spirits abducted him?" With a chuckle, Pilgrim said, "All of you are a bunch of mortals. You have no perception all these years, for you were deluded by those monstrous deviates. All you thought of were true Buddhas making their auspicious descent to enjoy these offerings of the lamps. Just now when the wind passed by, those apparitions of Buddha were actually 3 monster spirits. Unable to recognize them either, my master dashed to the top of the bridge and immediately bowed down. They managed to dim the lights, took away the oil with some vessels, and even abducted our master. I was a bit slow in getting up there, and that's why the 3 of them could escape by changing into the wind." "Elder brother," said Sha monk, "what are we going to do, then?" "No need for hesitation," replied Pilgrim. "The 2 of you go back to the temple with the rest of them to guard our horse and luggage. Let Old Monkey make use of this wind and track them down." Dear great sage. Swiftly mounting the cloud somersault, he rose to midair and, catching a whiff of putrid odor from that wind, sped toward the northeast. He chased it till dawn, and all at once the wind died down. Then he came upon a huge mountain that appeared most treacherous and truly rugged. Marvelous mountain. Canyons in layers.